Hi everyone, my name is Chris Gosselin. I'd like to do a tour of Pointe du Hoc today. Look at this behind me. You have bomb critters all around the place, and we are on the path because in 2019 they kind of fenced off everything around, so it's a little bit limited visit compared to what it was a few years ago. And obviously when I was a teen I was able to go on many more places. It's a windy day, so I hope they can hear me well. And let's go to the first anti-aircraft bunker. So the one you can see at the end of the path here, which is on the side of Omaha Beach, if you want, behind me at 6 miles to the right side. So that direction. There is Omaha Beach at 6 miles, 9 kilometers approximately. So the gun pit here was anti-aircraft bunker, and it was the first CP, the first command post for Colonel Rudder, R-U-D-D-E-R, a native Texan, that led the attack of the Rangers, of the 2nd Rangers. 3 companies of the 2nd Rangers, DEF companies, attacked Pointe du Hoc on D-Day, in the morning of D-Day, supposedly at the same time than Omaha and Utah attacks. Today we're lucky because it's low tide. I'd like to show you this a little bit. So it's kind of the same landscape that when they landed on D-Day. And what is interesting here, because we are on the platform going up a little bit, and here is where the gun emplacement is. So the cannon was there, and underneath there is a room, and it was Rudder's first command post. On that side, take a look here, because this is where they came up from. A part of the cliff collapsed after the shelling of the USS Texas with 14-inch cannons on board in that direction. So the USS Texas shelled this position, and a part of the cliff collapsed, making kind of a halfway to climb up. And the Rangers had grappling hooks. And here, what is interesting is to understand that it is the same location than on many pictures. For example, take a look over here on my picture. Sorry, it's a little bit windy. And where my thumb is, under my thumb, there is a guy. He's back on a concrete block. This block is still here. Can you say this is the small one here? So Pointe du Hoc, the name came from this cape you can see in the back in limestone. And let's go to see the observatory post. There are many stories. So Rudder was the commander, and with 225 American Rangers trained in Achnacarry, Scotland, like Royal Marine Commandos. That was the training of the Royal Marine Commandos they had. Take a look to the first CP and medical aid station as well in this area, and the first morgue as well, because it was costly to climb up from the bottom to the top. It's a 100-foot cliff where we are. So Rudder was trained, and he was an officer from the 1st Division, and was trained as a commando, and the Rangers climbed up here. They were also surprised to climb up that fast, in fact, of the accomplishment that they did. Among the many stories, because I mentioned the connection of between the British and the Americans, you know, the Rangers had a very, very British training, so kind of British traditions in the Rangers. Their dagger, for example, was a British dagger, a little bit adapted to the Americans, so they did a few changes, I would say. And there were even Brits that came up with the Rangers. The two fellows were Tom and Kenneth Trevor. both colonels and cousins as well. So especially Tom Trevor is kind of very famous. You know, we have pictures of him taken where I showed you earlier. And that's one of the incredible stories of Pointe du Hoc. What is the most amazing thing is that when they climb up, there were supposedly here 6 big cannons, 150 millimeters cannons here that were shooting from here to defend the coast for the Germans in German occupied France. And when they climb up here, they didn't find the big cannons that had a 12-mile range, approximately 20-kilometer range for those cannons. And here we are arriving at one of the gun emplacement, one of the gun pits. It's a very nice one. It's a good day as well because you can hear the waves hitting the rocky beach here. It's a bit windy. That's typical of Pointe du Hoc. So look at this. In the center there is a pivot still there. So imagine a platform, rotating platform with a cannon on top normally. And the Germans, scared by air bombings, you know, in the previous month before the invasion, the British and the Americans, you know, air bombed the entire area. And as they were scared, they moved the cannons in the back and they replaced them with telephone poles painted in black. So that's one of the stories. So this gun pit I showed you was from 1942, and because of air bombing and the air supremacy of the Allied forces, they finally replaced them by this type of bunker you can see in France. Only a few were ready, only 2 were ready on D-Day. So this site was still under construction on D-Day. The Germans were not ready, in other words. One of the most amazing stories of D-Day and Pointe du Hoc is the one connected to the 101st Airborne, the 506 that you know very well, you from the show We Happy Few. And because imagine that when the C-47s, you know, the also nicknamed Dakotas by the British, flew over the English Channel and they came close to the shore, one of them was hit by the German flak anti-aircraft artillery. And there is an amazing story because this C-47, you know, imagine on fire. There were men inside. There were a stick of 18 men. Only 4 succeeded to escape out of the airplane before the crash. And the 4 of them are right on top of the bluff, so on top of the cliff where we are. 2 of them were on top and 2 came down in the sea. So their names was, the commander was Johnson, then the second one was Christensen, then Crutch, and the last one, Good Goal, that has a full testimony of it and quite interesting, as we're arriving now at the observation post here where we are, and with the monument for the Rangers in the shape of a dagger. And I like to show you the path here to show you how big is the cliff, but it's still windy, so I'd just like to turn around a little bit and show you the site again. Look at this. So the end of the story is that Good Goal stayed here 5 days, then joined, because it was from the I Company, so I joined the I Company of the 506 101st Airborne near Carrington. And he was in the battle in the Battle of Bloody Gulch. So Christensen finally was captured and sent to a stalag, so a German prisoner camp in Germany. Good Goal survived and fought. In fact, they joined the fight. So there were 2 American paratroopers who attacked Pointe du Hoc with the Rangers. Look at this. So where it's very sunny, to the right side where the cliff is, there is a huge collapse. It happened last year, but before this big collapse, there is a big rock. This is exactly a bit closer to us, where the rangers climbed up the cliff. So where I showed you the concrete blocks, you know, and behind the anti-aircraft bunker. And that's Pointe du Hoc here, and the observation post. Look at this. So only for observers, no artillery here. I think that's a lot to discuss, so if you have questions, join us for the discussion. But I'd like to go up here and show you again the view. And this is pretty much what Pointe du Hoc is. Thank you for your attention.